Hello, America. Today, we are bringing you live to Illinois for the Lincoln-Douglas debates.
We will begin with opening remarks. Mr. Douglas.
Everyone, I will have you know that my opponent is not even a racist. He believes that the black man is actually equal to us white folk. I, for one, will not stand for this. What's next? Will his black Republican Party allow Negroes to make legislation, intermarry with our daughters? Not in my state of Illinois. Not in my Illinois.
All right, thank you, Mr. Douglas. Mr. Lincoln?
I am not, nor have ever been, in favor of the social and political equality between the Negroes and the whites. I have never had the idea that we should make jurors or voters out of Negroes, nor have I ever thought of qualifying them to hold office, nor to intermarry with white people. However, if taking this old Declaration of Independence, which declares all men are equal upon principle, and making exceptions to it, where will it stop? If one man says that a man is not as good as another, what's to stop him from saying another man isn't? Now, Mr. Douglas, let me pose you this question. If you are to say that you are the superior of a black man simply because of the color of his skin, what is stopping a more fair-skinned man than you from enslaving you? And if you are saying that you are superior to the black man because of your intellectual endowment in comparison to him, then what is to prevent a smarter person to come along and enslave you? And if you are saying that somehow your moral righteousness makes you superior to the black man, what is stopping a morally righteous man from coming and enslaving you?
The answer, Mr. Lincoln, comes from God himself. We, the white folk, are understood to be the descendants of Abel the Just, whereas these black folk are descended from the despised Cain. His black skin is the mark that God left upon Cain when he killed his brother. It is not a matter of lighter or darker skin, but of ancestry, Mr. Lincoln. Because God will always triumph.
Well known that any man who laid his hand on Cain would be punished tenfold. For Jesus himself said, "Do unto others as you would do unto yourself." What makes these black people any less than others? Would you like to be enslaved? Would you like to be whipped and beaten and starved?
These Negroes, Mr. Lincoln, are clearly of a lesser race. Their lives in Africa were those of savages. Their heathenness has never known Christ before. And until we can cure these heathens, as represented by their dark-colored skin, then they may never assimilate to be equals to us white people.
Well, then once again, I'd like to ask you, would you want to be enslaved by somebody who thought they were of a higher race, who thought that your life was a life of heathens?
It is not a matter of what one thinks, but it is a fact of God, written in his holy words of the Bible, Mr. Lincoln. Do you dare defy God?
Show me the quote in the Bible that talks about the segregation of races. Show me Jesus Christ talking about treating others differently because of how they look.
You're just a Negro lover.
Well, sorry, what was that? Well, Mr. Douglas, why is it that you so passionately defend popular sovereignty?
Well, I believe in popular sovereignty because it makes slavery the decision of the people. And I love my people. That's why I passed the Kansas-Nebraska Act, which makes slavery in those territories the decision of the people.
Bleeding Kansas?
What was that, Mr. Lincoln?
Mr. Lincoln, your name has been invoked. Would you care to respond?
Wait, what? I wasn't done yet!
What Mr. Douglas fails to realize is that popular sovereignty not only perpetuates, but also nationalizes the institution of slavery.
So, Mr. Douglas, how do you explain the recent violence in Kansas?
You know, there's some trouble in Kansas, I will admit. But you know what's an even bigger problem? Mr. Lincoln is friends with a Negro.
You leave Frederick out of this.
It's true. Mr. Lincoln has received the highest of praises for his abolitionist work from the Negro abolitionist hero himself, Frederick Douglass.
What does this have to do with bleeding Kansas? You seem to be avoiding the question.
Shut up! You like Negroes!
Mr. Lincoln, you have openly condemned the Dred Scott decision. Please explain your stance.
Negro lover.
Mr. Douglas! This is Mr. Lincoln's question!
On this, I agree with Judge Douglas. Now, a black man may not be my equal in many respects. In race, maybe in minority, possibly even intellectual endowment. But in the ability to eat bread on his own leave, without needing anybody else's permission, bread by which his own hands he earned, he is my equal. He is Judge Douglas's equal, and he is the equal of every living man.
Question for Mr. Douglas. How do you plan to bridge the partisan divides that plague our nation?
Let's remember, I supported the Compromise of 1850, which was supported by both Whigs and Democrats. Furthermore, this policy endorsed popular sovereignty, which means that I love you people. And may I also remind you, he's not a racist.
Mr. Lincoln?
The United States policy is to limit the expansion of slavery. That is why the Northwest Ordinance of 1787 forbade slavery in the territories that became this great state. A house divided cannot stand. If half of our states have slavery and half do not, our union will crumble.
Uniformity in the local laws and institutions of the different states is neither possible nor desirable. If uniformity had been adopted by the Constitution, it must inevitably have been uniformity of slavery everywhere.
That seems an awful lot like the Articles of Confederation, which completely failed our country.
Mr. Lincoln, what is your stance on international immigration in this country?
My stance on immigration is that as long as the people come in peace and come in order to make their lives a better place, I accept them wholeheartedly.
And Mr. Douglas, what is your stance on this immigration?
Mr. Lincoln's opinion is absolute cowcud. You know what I say? I say, we build a wall across the Great Lakes to keep out the Canadians. And then after that, we'll build another wall across the Pacific Ocean to keep out the Chinese. And then when we're done with that, we can build another wall across the Atlantic Ocean to get rid of the Irish. You know what the Irish do? They eat their own babies. Have you read Irish literature? Absolutely sickens me. Do you want the Irish eating your own babies? Of course not. That's why we need to build all of the walls.
It's time for closing statements. Mr. Douglas?
Everyone here today, remember, when you vote, this man standing next to me is not even a racist. He likes black people. I don't like black people. I love you people. He doesn't love you people. He likes black people. So when you vote, vote for me, Stephen Douglas.
Okay then. Very good. Mr. Lincoln.
I would like to let it be known that whoever wins this election will do so because of public sentiment. Public sentiment is everything. With it, you will always succeed, but without it, nothing will. Consequently, he who molds public sentiment goes deeper than he who enacts statutes or pronounces decisions. He makes statutes and decisions possible or impossible to be executed. I will mold public sentiment beyond what this short, angry fellow can do. And I will make our state great again.
2 hours later.
The Lincoln-Douglas race is close. Neither contender seems to be giving up an inch in their poll numbers. It will come down to the Whig swing vote. What's this? I'm getting a telegram. It appears that Whig John Crittenden has decided to endorse Stephen Douglas. More on this later.
Later.
In this envelope, America, I have the winner of the Illinois Senate race between Mr. Stephen Douglas and Mr. Abraham Lincoln. The winner is Stephen Douglas. Congratulations, Mr. Douglas. I guess Abraham Lincoln will just fade off into obscurity and we'll never hear about him again now. Good night, America.
Eventually.
7 years ago, our forefathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived.
DJ Khaled! Hey! Yeah! All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there.